Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say hello and welcome. Welcome to a fresh, brand new edition of the program ASHFORD GARLEY Live on British Radio Africa, British Television Africa. We are on YouTube, Facebook. We are also, for the first time in a long time, on Top FM in Grand Judah County, and Top FM covers Refugee, Sino, parts of Nimba, the Africa Coast, you name it. Want to say the big thanks to the general manager of Top FM, Mr. Sekou Kuruman. And he's going to be in studio with me tonight. But as always, folks, Father God, want to give you praise. We want to magnify your name. Blessed be your holy name forever. Lord Jesus, you woke us up this morning. We're glad and blessed that we're not in the hospitals. We can walk and talk. We can breathe. We can find food to eat. We are blessed to be surrounded by loved ones, relatives, and friends. In the name of Jesus, we have given thanks. We have a very high-profile guest tonight. The Chairman Emeritus of the Congress for Democratic Change, CDC, George G. Solo, is our special guest tonight. You might just want to tell friends to share the video, or you can do the sharing yourself. Don't be selfish. Invite a few friends so that we can together have a great time tonight. I expect the house to be jam-packed tonight. So please begin sharing the video. And very shortly, as soon as we get a signal from George Solo, we will bring him live. But in the meantime, I want to introduce my local partner in Liberia, Sekou, the owner, the founder of Top FM. Is in the building. What's Sekou? Hello, my brother. How you doing?
I'm okay. I'm very, very much okay. How are you?
I'm better than good. Tell the world a little bit about yourself as you make your presence on British Radio Africa for the first time in a long time. Who is Sekou Kuruman? And what is
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. As for Glay, I'd like to appreciate you so much. And viewers, I'd like to say, wherever you are watching from, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Sekou Lansana Shapewai. Nyong Pao Tutu Hindo Wai Koroma. I hail from Grand Cape County, Congo Mano River, Pokpa District. And presently, I'm in Grand Judah County, where I own and operate a radio and television station, Top FM. We have an online platform. It's one of the biggest in the Southeast. in terms of infrastructures and also broadcast. Um, so far, so good. More precise, probably maybe people want to know other portfolio about me. I'm a movies director, and I'm an actor as well. I write script, I shoot and edit. Yeah, but I do a lot of political, commentating. I like political talk shows, and so because of that, I just find my interest in that very very area. So once again, I'd like to say hello to everybody. Good evening. Good morning to everyone. My name is Sheku Koroma for short.
You
I'm
just
here
told
in
us.
Liberia.
You just told us that you're based out of Grand Union County and Top FM. Tell us some of the counties that Top FM covers.
So those of you who joining us, let me say welcome and welcome to this wonderful and power pack edition of the Bridge Radio. It is a privilege for me for the very first time to be on the program with Mr. ASHFORD Garley, and I appreciate you, Mr. Garley, as we move on tonight.
Okay, well, folks, if you're just joining us, this is Bridge Radio Africa, Bridge Television Africa. I'd like to say hi to my own sister, Terry Choir. They've been in with that name changing business around here. I also like to say hi to Thomas Awaji. Petrina Vumbo is also in the building. Dianhad Adoset Omo. J.S. Romeo Naplu is also here. Seattle Freeman. Arthur Gatefall. My own little brother, Emmanuel Garley. And Sam Abu, the veteran himself, is in the building tonight. Rebecca Tired. CFI Note Moritz. How you all doing tonight? So share the video. We are going to have all kinds of fun tonight. As always, folks. Some heard the name, some heard people talk about them. You've gotten the opportunity tonight to match the name, face, and voice. Some call him the mastermind, the doctor of love, the medicine of the microphone, the golden voice of radio. Basi yomplo. C'est qu'on a épelé. Jere, c'est tout pas yege. Zebon plo da na je. Ko me o kire ji. Ye ode no muzo ni won je ma double to jirai. Ajiro ade wa po. He doesn't eat iron, but he's definitely stronger than a lion. Africa's media doobie-doo extraordinaire. The media mogul creator. ASHFORD the Giant. The now you know me Garley. Welcome to the show. And I'd like to say hi to May Cottle Blessing, Tina Manning, James Boley, and Madison Cameron, my little brother from Houston. My own cousin, A.B. Bobley, and the bishop himself, my very humble friend, the Reverend Walter T. Gooden Jr. is in the building. Folks, Want to give you all thanks for taking off time of your business schedule tonight. Again, grab something to drink because we are going to have all kinds of fun tonight. For those of you that can drink, grab a drink of your choice. You know, whether it's wine, the brown liquor, whatever you can drink. Get the popcorn rolling as well. And for those of us who can just drink water or orange juice, we will be here doing our own thing tonight. As of the first, as of the new year, our schedule will change. We will be coming live midday. Midday from Minnesota. That's 12 p.m. Minnesota time, 1 p.m. on the East Coast, and 6 p.m., right? In Liberia, Monday through Friday. We told you there's time for everything. And it is now time for us to grow with this new administration. Our presence will be felt, and no stone will be left unturned. So get ready for Bridge Television Africa, Bridge Radio Africa. Great things are about to unfold. Mr. Eugene Sharif, Ojuku Toge, Charlene Dumbat, Hawa Bear, and the rest of the crew. Okay, we just got what's the latest in Liberia? As soon as we get signal from on Joe Solo, we will bring it up. What's the latest in Liberia, my brother? Talk to us.
Right now, I will tell you a bit about our country Grand Judah. Liberia is a kind of peaceful, except where there are issues or incidents that have taken place tonight that I don't know about. But as far as we're concerned, the country is peaceful. Before I talk about Grand Judah County, I would just like to also talk about what's happening or unfolded today. The Female Journalists Association of Liberia had their election today.
Okay.
And Lisa, from what we're getting, hopefully won the elections. I called one or two persons from there, and that was confirmed. And Patience Bay Kroma from Top FM, who happened to be the manager, my wife, also won as the second.
Okay, we seem to
feature,
okay, go ahead.
which we are grateful for, that a daughter of Grand Judah County have ascended to such a high-profile position, controlling the female journalists in Liberia as the third person in command. So, which we're very, very much grateful about. On the other hand, Grand Judah County of recent, to be very honest, has been going through a lot of tough time. Tough time in the sense we lost one of the outspoken, very much developmental, an activist, a philanthropist, a lawmaker of Grand Judah County who just won the 2023 October 10th elections to be certificated on the 8th. Unfortunately, we received his death news. Allegedly, fingers have been pointed to Honorable Zoe Manuel Peno as a masterminder for the death of the honorable man. Unfortunately, there has not been a clear evidence as to whether he has any hands in such thing. It's just a hearsay at DEC that the lady confessed, according to information that he's he's the one who gave allegedly 3,000 United States dollars to her, and the lady in question is a sister to the late representative. That sparkled tensions in the county, and that led to angry people going to the traditional council head office, burn it down, went to the senator first place he have in the penal community, burned it down, not just burning it down, but looted it and burned it down. Went to his building around the cash, that's Toteville area, buzzed out of the glasses, and also looted the place. As God could have it, AFA arrived on the scene, and the newly elected and certificated Senator Thomas Yaya Nimle was able to rescue the situation.
Thank you.
When he
Hold
got there,
that.
he spoke to
Hold that
cross
thought for
section of
now.
people. They
Thank you, Seku. Hold that thought for now. As we bring in former representative of Grand Gita County under the Samuel Doe's administration. He's the Honorable William K. Glay Sr. I'm telling you, the house is going to be jam-packed tonight. There are a lot of big names that are surfacing just by hearing that the Honorable George Solo is coming to town. I'd like to say hi to my mother, Hannah York of Atlanta, Georgia. I also like to say hi to my big sister, Monica Khan. She's in the building as well. Let us show who you're having a great time tonight as we plan to broadcast from Blast and musical forecast. And don't don't get it mixed up with a talk show host and a journalist. Okay, I'm not a talk show host. I am a broadcast journalist. Been practicing for over 30 years. Just so you know. At this time, I'd like to welcome the Honorable William K. Glay Sr. out of his residence in Baltimore, Maryland. Honorable Glay, hello and welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you very much for your
It's been
program.
it's been a long time, Honorable Glay.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing very well, especially for a journalist to come from Grand Jide and have a program. You're very honest and perfect.
Your son comes to Bridge Radio tonight, Honorable George Solo, who happens to be the former chairman of the outgoing ruling party, the city said. What do you make of your son, George Solo?
My son is very honest, educated, intelligent, and it made me proud for children from Grand Jide. For a Grand Jidean to be smart like this, that's what made me to come on to watch a show tonight.
Okay. Your friend is now the president-elect of the Republic of Liberia, Joseph Yuma Boycott. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel and I know Grand Jide will be strong. You know, Buckeye is a Dodi. The Gishi people and Crown people cannot see blood. They are Dodi. So it made me excited. I'm happy that he won the elections. And then let me tell you, Grand Jide was supposed to be the capital city for Southeastern region. That's why when you go to Grand Jide, the chief of immigration, chief of police for Southeastern region, they all based in Grand Jide. You know, Zodru Multilateral came when Ramsey, Sarko, and myself, we fought hard. We were going to different county. And then we worked with the United Nations. they carried to Lofa, and they brought Zedru multilateral to Zedru. And I think just solo you will make Grand Nigeria to be developed more. Look, son don't die. Plenty people, international people that don't help. They won't go to Grand Nigeria. In fact, I made an arrangement to have sister city relationship with Tucson City and with Zedru City. And while in the house, other county got 8 representatives, 7 representatives. And I was fighting for Grand Nigeria to increase the representative. That's why we have Kavala district. I wanted to even have Boston district to get 2 districts and Putu to move from Kunawu district to her district for to get more representative to develop our county. But since people all left the house, even when I made Kavala district, up until now, they don't have representative from Kavala district. So I heard my son Judge Dolo, and the way he getting involved, I know Grand Nigeria will be developed.
Now, let us talk about reconciliation for a minute. Before the war, tell us the relationship between Grand Nigeria County and Nimba County.
Let me tell you, before the war, Grand Nigeria and Nimba, they are one country. They are one country. Let me tell you, who talking now? I have a son from Nimba. By Nimba, one Nimba woman and myself got a son. And Nimba, and Grand Nigeria, they close. You know, when something happened, some people there made mistake. But now we are coming to be, we are united now. They're coming. What happened in the past? It's a mistake, and we try to rebuild the relationship.
And speaking of rebuilding the relationship, where do we start from?
We start from if you go to Grand Nigeria, we got plenty of Liberian in Grand Nigeria. And the Crown people, they also in Nimba. And we got to pull away our differences and become united.
But the local people are saying the problem is not with the folks from Grand Nigeria, the common people or the common people from Nimba. It is the politicians who are trying to bring this divide between the 2 counties.
You know, let me tell you, the division will go away. Since Bwaka become president, you know, if you do wrong, you will not go free. You got to get your punishment. That's why we'll bring peace and happiness in the country. So let Bwaka take over. You will see how Grand Nigeria and Nimba will be. They will be united. The Nibalian got children by Grand Nigeria women. Grand Nigeria people had children by Nimba women. And we are one.
And folks, if you just joining us, this is ASHFORD GARLEY Live from British Radio Africa. Tonight, we have a very high-profile guest. The Honorable George G. Solo is our special guest tonight. And this is just a pre-game show where you have former representative of Grand Nigeria County, William K. Glay Sr., and I also have the managing director for Top FM in Zerdu Grand Nigeria County. Honorable Glad, I was going through my archives the other day, and I saw you in a photograph with former President Torbert. What was your relationship with Torbert?
Okay. When I graduated from high school, I went beyond, CW and St. Patrick went behind the mansion. And then Todman, my first time seeing president, Todman King pointed his finger at me and put 5 of us. Went to Israel, were there for 2 years, we came back. I became bodyguard to Tottenham. When Tottenham died, I became bodyguard to Tobo. That was the relationship I had. And after all of that, then I got from LU, then I became ranger in Grand Jida. Then I became regional forester. Then when Doe came, the Grand Jidian petitioned me to be a senator. When I decided to run, we united. They said, no, we want Ramsey to be the senator. Grand Jida elected me to be the representative from Grand Jida. So I was a representative.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, you said you had child by mistake. How can you have child by mistake?
What about mistake? I said I had child by Liberian.
Oh, you had a child by Liberian. I thought you
Yeah,
said you had child by mistake. I said, but then how did woman have child by mistake?
by my mistake.
Okay, tell us about Tottenham's birthday in 1968 November when they established the palace in Israel. What was that program like?
The program was nice. As I told you before, Grand Jida is supposed to be the capital city for Southeastern region. So Tottenham, or when that house you see they build all of those houses, even in Tottenham Hospital. That's why it was built in Grand Jida. And when you see right now, if you go to Grand Jida, they got director for immigration for Southeastern region, police for immigration, Southeastern region. That's the arrangement when we were in power. I was a representative. The arrangement we make it for make capital as well the capital city for Southeastern region.
Okay, well, at this time, Honorable Glay, want to say a big thank you. I know you have your little wine ready, and your pipe ready for the show tonight. So, want to say thanks for showing support to your son. We're going to take leave of you now as we get ready to dive into the real conversation with the Honorable Georgie Solo. So, want to say big thanks to you and our regards to your family.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very much.
Yes, thank you. Okay, that was the voice of the Honorable William K. Glade, former representative of Grand Jita County, and I also like to say thanks to our brother from Top FM, Liberia, my man. Thanks for joining us. You can sit in the back and relax now as we get ready to usher in our special guest. Thank you so much, Eku. Okay, folks. In the meantime, very shortly, as soon as we get a signal from the Honorable George Solo, we will bring him in. In the meantime, just take a listen to a few bars of this song. And just in case you're celebrating your birthday today, I'd like to say congratulations and happy birthday. Let us sure hope that you live to see many more birthdays to come. Miss Josephine Toze, Allison David Marvin, Dr. Dacio Foreman. He's the CEO and founder of Our Seas Tomorrow. Duke Fearless Williams is also here. Sylvester Dodd is watching from Liberia. And I also see Samuel Tamba Gord. Eugene Harry, Prince Kamara, Abetha E.D. Freeman, Othello Grisby. I'm going down the list here because I don't want to make a mistake and I don't want to get in trouble. My brother, Jeffston Nang Gate, Cole Gloria Voka Molba, Joe Tiowe, Raymond Clark is in the building. My own sister, May Carter from New Jersey, is also in the building. My big sister, Monica Khan, Human Throw Krenga, my big sister, is also here tonight. The mother, Hannah York, is in the building. George Solo will appear shortly, folks. And let us continue to take a listen to a few bars of this song. As a matter of fact, 3 years ago, George Solo broke his silence on British Radio Africa. And some of the things that he said, it came to pass. Again, he's breaking his silence for the first time after the elections. He said a lot of things. And what does he have in store for the Liberian people tonight? Big question. And let us continue to find out. This was George Solo a few years ago on British Radio Africa. George Weah is still popular with the people of Liberia. How can you remove him, Mr. Solo?
As for my father and mother always told me, the way you pick, way you make all your pay, that way you later on it. A Liberian poor make all their pay with incompetent George Weah, who national security is an issue. He know a left foot from a right foot. A Liberian poor make all their pay with him. Fuck them. I am ideologue. I don't live for people. I live for ideology. So all the facts that I'm giving you tonight, and I will say it right in front of you, George Weah is the most corrupt president Liberia ever seen. His government now is leading Liberia to the most corrupt stage where it will not even be possible for us to get out of it. Then he said, oh, that's your brother, that's your friend. We live in the same house. We wear the same priest. And I come to you, ask for I tell you, say the man are fucking real. Then he say, oh, what your language? Georgie, take down. Oh, Georgie, I'll call you or call me or you won't call me or. And you don't want to hear the truth. And the Brempo don't want to hear the truth coming off.
Let me ask you this, George.
Yeah.
The George Weah you know, you both exchanged on a clone that you said. Now, people can get angry at the way the country is going. You think George Weah, look, we know George ought to be for peace. You think George Weah is capable of killing somebody?
No, he is capable of killing somebody. And let me tell you something about our man and what I know. I have no intention to come to that bureau. That man where you sit down there, so if he have to kill to maintain his name, he will kill. George Weah is a man who his name is more important than anything else. George Weah will kill somebody tonight in the morning. He will go to that same fucking clan. That fucking clan there, that grandma chest. You know, I'm not praying. Grandma pray for him. The witchcraft was pinning away in grandma was living. She will close fucking clan.
How you say the man in witchcraft business? The man passed. The man get charged. Didn't you say the man in witchcraft business?
You know what? Let me tell you something. George G. Solo on your station today, La Bropo listening. I tell you, I said that George Weah man, I see that witchcraft. When you look at the man, the man about way. You know why about way? You know why about way?
No.
Hey, you look at George Weah toe China black. You look at his toenail black. You know what? Yeah, he's a representative of Satan. And let me tell you something. And maybe you're coming on.
No, don't cause. Please don't cause. I beg you.
That George Weah man, what you see, that man, I sit on in a man. When you wake up in the morning, you think about yourself. When you go to sleep, you think about yourself. You get a weak opposition. You come and look out where Heston drop out. Then you say, oh, we're talking. I mean, I get time for your language. First of all, it does not even comprehend your language. So we are illiterate. The opposition in Liberia is too educated. When you're ready, they tell the Liberian people ready for opposition. The same way you see him sitting down, that way somebody will stand on there and say, you know what? Like 12 o'clock in the evening, when you pay the people, you move from here. You can take a camel or take from Clara Town and play the pie, play Tom. It's a fucking cause us to ask ourselves, why is Liberia where it is? They come up and fail us. Then we went to Nuclear Town, went to West Point. Yeah. We got 12 man we are. The man who put color on it, he gets steam more than people who say what in terrorist way. The entire nation, Liberia has a cause, and that cause is corruption. It doesn't matter who you support. It doesn't matter how you work. At some point in your life, you'll be disappointed because you find out that the individual agenda, corruption, is more than a national agenda. So when it comes to me, you bring opposition, man, that's why I mean, what you see that so. I mean, a roll. Yeah. No, 8, 9 years old, he was stealing. When I go sell the color and take 2 from inside, sell it, eat it. He's a damn.
But when Joey are 8, 9 years, you know what knew him? You can't make anything down.
But as for, and this is where me and you're trolling now. Exactly. Marco Tugan run in New York. You know how many times the man lose election in New York? You know the man physical value. When the man go to abroad today, he get gold, man. Thanks to 12 we are a row. We are a row. Any family who we are cattle like brother.
You know, he said one of the interesting things that he said is that George Weah brought his brother-in-law, and under the cover of darkness, they would take our resources with helicopter and private jet and take it to their home country, ripping off the country. You know, Liberia has always been on the giving end. And when will Liberia, Mama Liberia? And one of the things I'm going to be doing in this new administration is to be hard on them in terms of corruption. Those who stole the country's resources, we have to confiscate some of those, if not all. I saw Lepose Baboon, aka Samuel Toy, crying yesterday. As a matter of fact, him and his wife with their 6 kids were supposed to travel on the 19th to the United States, but now he has been sanctioned. So, ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves. Our special guest has just arrived, and I'm going to give you a few bars of a song that we can all relate to. The song is entitled Everything Has Time, but our brother from the Southeast called Alan Brown. Take a listen. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the time has come for the most powerful politician in Liberia. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me as we welcome the Honorable George Glay Solo. Please unmute your microphone, Mr. Solo. Hello, Georgie. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ashford. Thanks for having me, brother. As always, it's a pleasure. I was enjoying your song.
Well, my man, let me give you a couple of minutes to just give us your opening statement as we dive into this very fair conversation tonight.
Yeah, my opening statement is going to be surrounded by thanks and appreciation for our people on listening to the direction that we proffered, on giving Liberia a new chance, and on gathering around how we move forward in the future. We all participated politically. We all took our sides. We all were very clear on our expectations. We're very clear on our anticipation on what government and governance is supposed to represent on behalf of our people. We were listened to. We're here today. We have a president and vice president elect, and very excited about the prospect of the nation, how we move forward. And I think the critical part is remaining one people, one nation, with one interest, which is Mother Liberia. So I'm excited to be here with you, Ashford.
You fought hard for this, George. And when people tell you you fought hard, you said no. The Liberian people did this. Because I remember 4 years ago when you said if the Liberian people would sit down and allow themselves to eat dirt, then let it be so. But they themselves will have to take to the polls and vote George Weah out. And you said 3 years ago that George Weah would never get a second term. And the people listened. After the elections, you went mute for a while.
Intentionally. You know, when warriors go to war and the war is over, and the sentiments of the victory start to accumulate to you, there's a general sense of understanding. If you are fighting for the people and the people have responded, what do you have to say next? You know, you ask your kids to go to school and to make good grades. When your kids come with all A, what do you say next? Do you praise the teacher? Do you praise yourself? Or do you praise the student who made the effort? And I intentionally went mute for several reasons. There were accusations and counter accusations, as you know, in politics. Everyone is a suspect, especially when you circumvent the political space and you understand that the people are being used, misused, and abused. Everyone is a suspect. And in that regard, based on our international connections, based on our strategy, there was a time to speak. There's a time to sit back. There's a time to recalibrate. There's a time of awareness. There's a time of precaution where you do not know what the outcome would be. You are quite aware there are certain elements in the government or in every government that will continue to proffer the misrepresentation of what the people want. And so when we build our entity, we build it around 3 strategies. 1, do not try it. 2, if you try it, what would be our response? 3, the level of maturity and precaution that is required to exhibit a strategy is often misunderstood by the ordinary people. And so we stay quiet, we stay mute, we observe the environment, we observe the incoming actions of our international partners. We observe the scenario of what the transition is supposed to be, but we stay cautious. And we always stay cautious because it's a true revolutionary trait, is to stay cautious until the ultimate outcome. And I'm not going to address this today because I'm not going to put myself in a position where people will question my patriotism. My patriotism have never been in question. I say what I feel. I fight for what is right for the people. I've done it for 18 years. I did it for 12 years under Madame Sirleaf. I did it for 6 years under George Weah. I will continue to do that because it is our patriotic obligation to continue to stand with our mothers and our fathers, to stand with who have the meal and who don't have the meal, to stand with who can afford rent and who cannot afford rent, to stand with who can pay school fees and who cannot pay school fees. And so I went intentionally mute because what do you say after your village have rallied around you, after your people have been sensitized and have positively responded to your communication? You prepare for the next step. The next step is how do we move the nation forward? How do we build a nation around policies and processes? How do we educate individuals that governance is servantship? It is not an entitlement. How do we make sure that every Liberian has a cup of rest when the day ends? How do we make sure that everybody take pay at the end of the month? How do we make sure that we have health care, that we have roads to go to our homeland in the southeast? This is not a child's play. Oftentimes, when you use words and communication, is misinterpreted to represent self-aggrandizement. I am no hero. I am a servant of the people. The people of Liberia are the heroes. And I always maintain that mantra. And because of that, ASHFORD, we wait for the right opportunity to communicate the right message. This is not about hate. This is not about anger. This is about lifting Liberia to where Liberia is supposed to be. And that has always been our ideology. That has always been my ideology. I was raised in a home where if you have 1 spoon of rice, the other person should have 1 spoon of rice. If you have 2 plates, the other person should have 2 plates. And so on the basis of all of those, I have remained silent. In fact, I choose your podium, which was one of the podiums through which I expressed the highest level of disappointment, where I gave the highest level of prediction on what will happen today. It is happening, and where I remain committed to the people. And this is why with all of the media that have reached out to me, I said, where it started is where it will continue, is where it will end. And this is on the ASHFORD GARLEY show. So I'm proud to be here.
There's a new day in Liberia. People are calling for reconciliation. Reconciliation starts with audit. Reconciliation starts with investigation. Our big brother, Uncle Sam, has started bringing down sanctions. Do you hold yourself responsible for some of these sanctions? You introduced some of the most powerful leaders under George Weah to CDC. Do you blame yourself?
I don't think it's a question of blame. I think it's a question of taking responsibility for the efforts that were made. I testified to Congress. We put forward information that were pertinent to moving Liberia forward. I do not wish any Liberian evil. But the key words that we have missed on a consistent basis in our country, alongside reconciliation, the twin brother of reconciliation is accountability. So when you start to talk about audit, when you start to talk about sanctions, when you start to talk about all of these actions, they are very parallel to reconciliation. You can never reconcile a situation where one party believes that they have not been heard, where one party believes that the reconciliation does not represent justice and accountability for them. These are all processes that are intertwined. If you have to reconcile a nation, you must hold people accountable. When you hold people accountable, the general content of the outcome of the reconciliation is positive. And this is why we've had a lot of efforts towards reconciliation in Liberia, but we have never really reconciled, because you cannot go to a reconciliatory process where people feel is empty, is unaccountable. It does not represent their aspiration of how they move forward. So those words are intertwined. Regret is not a democratic vocabulary. You take actions to see outcome. You see those outcomes, you scrutinize the outcomes to make sure that the outcome represent the general sentiments of the population. And then you feel true reconciliation. So none of the efforts that I have made or that we have made is regrettable. It is in the direction of where we must go. We must face the truth. We must hold people accountable. We must build a basis and a foundation for how a nation prosper and survive. Have every citizen entitled to their rights and privileges. And so on that basis, no regret on the efforts, on the international efforts, on the local efforts, on the radio communication towards getting us to this point. No regret. It's all excitement, but it's excitement with caution that we must learn as Liberians to cross the finish line. It is not okay to just get in a race and just run for the sake of the race. Even if you are the last, it is very relevant that when you face a race, you get to the end. And I think the people of the United States, as you refer to them as Uncle Sam, the European community, and other international partners, have consistently asked Liberians to run the race to the end. Not just to run, not just to be in the race, not to participate and complain about the referee, not to complain about the rules and regulations regarding to the race, but to run the race to the end. And that's what we are trying to do with the new government, with the president-elect, with the vice president-elect, to which I extend extensive congratulations. The race is on. The race is ongoing.
You talk about accountability, you talk about reconciliation. Where does the bus stop when it comes to impunity? George Weah came to power 6 years ago, and the first thing he said was to protect the outgoing president and her family. When he came to power 6 years later, there are folks who never earned $100 a month in their entire life, but they own mansions today. Where do we go from here?
Well, I think that comment is twofold. The protection of our previous presidents is critical to the continuation of our democracy. Individually, respectfully, but national accountability has nothing to do with individuals. It is the responsibility of every government coming in to let us know where we are, where we sit now, where we were, and where we are going. The process of audit has nothing to do with individual protection. has to do with the protection of the state. The issue of accountability has to do nothing to do with individuals. It's accountability with individuals who were told with the responsibility to protect the state. How well did you do that? And I think the previous government made an error. When you look at financials, it is very important to know what you inherit, what you have to start the process of restructuring with, and where you are going. And this is why today, when you see the issue of corruption continuing to be relayed, is because we did not take those critical steps in the process of nation rebuilding. Nobody asked Mr. Weah to pursue Madame Salif. Nobody asked Mr. Weah to pursue her family. We asked for audit. We asked for accountability. We asked for people who led government entities to be able to list out what they did, what they achieved, what they did not achieve, what was the state of affairs of where they left things, so that we can be able to take the yardstick and say, this is where things were left, and this is where things are supposed to go. So, oftentimes in our African democracy, audit accountability is looked at as witch hunt. It is not. It is only a witch hunt when you do not do your job. It is only a witch hunt when you do not go every morning at 6 a.m. and commit your 8 hours to the Liberian people. And this is what is being asked for. This is what is asked for in every corporate environment. This is what is asked for in every transparent democratic environment. And this is what was asked for. Well, unfortunately, it wasn't done. And as the records show, you can see you did not leave this. You did not leave money. No, I left money. Oh, no, you did not do this. Oh, I did this. You are not recognizing it. All of these things come out of an unprepared transition. This is where I say, ASHFORD, you are inheriting this place. I was the minister. I was the MD. I left 5 million. No, you did not. I came. I met nothing. The Liberian people are simply spectators to this process. If you left it and I had audited you, I would have seen it. If you did not leave it and I audited you, I will have evidence of you not leaving it. This is a simple governance accountability that we're talking about, and somehow it's been manifested into something else. ASHFORD, you run a taxi company for me. From the day you inherited a company as CEO, we have 5 taxis. The day that I relieve you, how many taxis do we have? What was the income of the taxi company? How much did we raise every day? How many taxis are running? How many are not? How did you pay the people? What's the budget for the entity? These are all simple mathematics. It's not related to ASHFORD GARLEY or George Solo, no. It's related to the managing director of the taxi company, the outgoing and the incoming. Because as an incoming, I have to plan. I have to do financial planning. I have to plan on the direction, the strategy, and the implementations that will lead the company forward. If I'm not talking to you about where you left us, where you met us, then how can you communicate with me where you expect me to take us? And so that's a simple analogy.
Why does the word audit anger George Weah and his officials? Like you said, you never asked President Weah to pursue Madame Salif and her family. And you said audit is not a witch hunt. Why is George Weah and his people are against audit?
Look, I've been in corporate America for 21 years. On an annual basis, you have audit. You don't just have external audit. You have internal audit, where you audit yourself, your programs, your spending, your processes, people responses, the development, the lack of development within the organization. All those things relate to audit. The word audit in Liberia almost become a different definition of what audit really means. Audit is simply accountability. Audit is simply a yardstick to say where we are and how do we go forward and why are we at this spot? What did we miss? What did we not do? What should we have done? What is the incoming person supposed to do? But when you have thievery, when you have unscrupulous leaders, the word audit rings a bell. And as I always say in corporate America, audit has two connotations. The first connotation of audit is, if I was leaving an entity, I will advocate for audit simply to remind the people of where we were and what I have done, the achievements that we've made, the roadblock that we faced, the impediment that we faced, and why we did not overcome those impediments to prepare the next step for the person coming in to be able to overcome those impediments. If you are unscrupulous leaders and you stole and you are unaccountable and you are unable to project those numbers and those implementations in the sense of what you achieve, then the audit is scary. For a good leader, audit is always welcome. For a horrible leader who has no accountability, who has misrepresented the financials of an institution, audit is always scary. You know, it's like you're saying you are taking an innocent person to court. The judicial system is in my favor. I have no fear. I have my facts. I have my numbers. I'm ready to defend my position. But if you are taking a guilty person to court, I will be defensive. I will worry about the outcome. I will worry about documentations and numbers that will not represent implementations that I should not have done. And so audit is the first child of an honest entrepreneur. And the audit is the worst enemy to a dishonest entrepreneur.
So, with President-elect Joseph Human Boycott and Vice President Jeremiah Cohn taking the oath of offices on the 22nd of next month, will we see business as usual, like the Liberian will say, let bygone be bygone, since the left, let it just continue? Or will we have trace some of the resources that these people allegedly stole? Someone told me George Ria is a very smart criminal. It's hard to trace, catch him in stealing. How do we retrieve some of these or some of those stolen items of the monies?
You know, the former president, the outgoing president, with all of our differences, has shown a level of gracefulness and comprehension to the need of the Liberian people with his acceptance of the election. So I will not go as far as to use words like criminals. But I think there's a general sense, and this have been hardened by the decision of the international community to impose sanctions and to forewarn incoming Liberians into roles of authority that the days of impunity is gone. Government is to serve. If you are not ready to serve, do not participate. If you are ready to serve, we will support and accommodate you. And I think that message is clear. It is resounding to all Liberians, from market women to Yana boys to Liberians of all aspects. Liberia has a new day. And that new day sits on a President-elect Joseph Boyka and Vice President-elect Jeremiah Cohn. People who I happen to know, people who I've happened to have a lot of conversations with. You listen to all of my articulations. You listen to all of my support for this new direction. So it's not a news. But as the world evolves, as humanity evolves, as our expectation as citizens evolve, I think you've seen the Liberian people saying, this is what we expect of governance. This is what we expect out of leaders. This is what we expect out of our nation. As all of those things become paramount, as our international partners say, this is what we expect of you. This is the standard of living that you should have, based on our own calculation of your resources, human resources, national resources, and other resources. You are below the belt on where you are supposed to be. When all of those articulations are very clear, when our people are now asking leaders to lead the way they are supposed to lead, when governments have been changed every 6 years on the basis of our expectation, I don't think it's a conversation. I think you can either do it, you can take us to the next level, to which we will work hard, we'll kill ourselves to make sure you do, or I think you can start to disrespect the fundamental rules of democracy, equality, and Liberianization, in which case we'll have to vote you out. That is a given. It's not a if. Liberia is not in a 1980. We're not in a 1990. We are in 2023. We are in a space where we know our rights, where we have our expectations, where they are laid out. And if you do not meet the jurisdiction of what our political expectation is, as you can see with Mr. Weah, you know what the result will be. I think as a people, our politicians might not be at the same space that we are. But I think as a people, we have taken some long, difficult steps that we cherish. For the first time in the history of the nation, we are asking our leaders, what do you have to give us? What do you offer us? We are asking, how will you do it? We are asking, why will you do it? We are asking for the formulation of the formalities on how it will be done. We are asking for how we will be included. We are asking for how this will be justified, measured, and ultimately come into our homes. We are asking for how the difference in our nation will show on our dining room table when our children eat. We are asking for how the future of our nation will show in our children's intellectual capacity when they go to school. We are asking for how they will be transported to school. We are asking about security. We are asking about how we will be safe. We are asking about how entrepreneurs will have access to funding to be able to propel the business society that is outside of government. ASHFORD, these questions have never been asked. Leaders have never been held accountable. Nobody putting their leader in hammer, walking across the mud. We are asking them now, how do you build a road where we all can get to that place, including you? So I think this is a very transformational stage in our democracy. This is a very transformational stage in our self-development. And this stage must be appreciated because it took us a lot of sweat, it took us a lot of blood, it took us a lot of insults, it took us a lot of differences to get to this point. So I don't believe the future of Liberia is optional. The future of Liberia is guided by success. It will be guided by success. We've stood ready. We stand ready now. And we'll always stand ready to have these conversations.
There's the age-old saying or phrase that the fish starts to rot from the head. We heard about 3 to 4 sanctions over the last week or so. Do we foresee more sanctions? If so, will our soon-to-be ex-president be included?
Governance surrounded by accountability has no limit. We have seen few sanctions. From my connections, from my communication, and my collaboration in Washington, we expect more sanctions. Will these sanctions go all the way to the fish head? Maybe. Will it hold the rest of the fish? Maybe. I'm in no position and I have no authority to predict, even though I have some inside information, to what the future sanctions of Liberia will be. But what I can tell you from my conversations and interactions, the international partners are concerned about the fish. The head is a part of the fish. The eyes is a part of the fish. As you relate in our African proverb, we say the fish right from the head. That color the head, the other fish will be okay. That's not a Western mentality. If you go to the market today, you go to Walmart, you go to Target, you buy a fish, and it smells bad, you will throw the whole fish away, including the head. If the fish was good, you will eat the fish, including the head. Nobody is out of the realm of accountability, not even the president. The former president will be scrutinized. He will be held accountable for anything that can be proven. His family members, his close associates, they all form part of the nucleus of what the fish is. And I believe from my consultation, everyone is accountable. From the head to the tail. If you are exercising nothing illegitimate and wrong, you are a part of the fish that will be appreciated. If you are exhibiting anything wrong, and you have been a part of the decline of our society and our people, you will be held accountable. So to answer your question simply, no one is out of the realm of accountability, including the former president, the outgoing president. There will be very critical conversations. There will be accountability, and it will come at all levels. And from my inside conversation, we expect additional sanctions. We expect the sanction list to grow. We expect it to include people that you know and people that you don't know.
Well, folks, if you're just joining us, this is ASHFORD Garley Live on British Radio Africa, British Television Africa. I'd like to say hi to my big sister, Monica Khan. I also like to say hi to our mother, Hannah York, Salome Saka, Terry Vanny Collins, Eugene Harry, and Meston Boy, including the rest of the folks. You talked about your connections in Washington, D.C. On December 13, we received a communication from two very powerful senators from the U.S. Senate, our Senator Christopher A.
Smith.
Coons
Mhm.
and Senator Chris Van Hollen, expressing their interest in working with President-elect Josiah Yuma Boycott and Vice President Jeremiah Kwankum. Is that a boost to the new government? What does that say?
I think it's a boost. Every time you have the people gather around individuals and say, this is the direction we want to take, these are the people that we expect to lead. I think the international community have all been grateful to say, we're here. You want to work with us, you want to do the right thing, we're here. Specifically with the differences with the outgoing government and the fight that America has done to make sure that Liberia is on the right footing. I think there's an extra expectation. What does that mean, Ashford? It means that when you're doing the right thing, we're right here to push you up. We'll give you every ounce of support, logistically, financially, humanly possible to make sure you achieve those goals on behalf of the Liberian people. And if you are not taking that direction, we'll do everything logistically and financially to make sure you are held accountable. It is a boost. In 2017, when President Weah assumed presidency, that boost was given. You see, leadership is a choice. Whenever you are elected, the possibility is there that if you do the right thing, will put you up We'll build you like a palm tree and we'll sit at the bottom of you and make sure that your foundation is solid. If you don't, we'll cut your roots and we'll find a new direction. Now, for someone who personally knows the vice president, and this is the first time in Liberia history where I will call a vice president my brother. At the level to which I know him and at the level to which we have conversations. It's a boost because I have no doubt that the president-elect and the vice president-elect have manifested the right intent for Liberia. They've had the right conversations. They have the right direction. This is why we voted them in. And with the support being built around them, nothing related to the future of Liberia now is negative. It's all positive. The international community is on board. We, the Liberians, we are on board. And everything will be done to make sure that this regime is a success story. I can say that to you without kid or waver.
You referred to the vice president elect as not only your friend, but a brother. What role do we foresee you play in the new administration? Any area of interest?
I might take tea to him in the morning. I might have honest conversations with him about what's going right and what's going wrong. I might participate in government. I might not. Nothing is given. But the reality is, I stand proud as a Liberian to see this transition. If I'm asked to contribute, ASHFORD, on behalf of my people, I will. If I am not asked to contribute, on behalf of civil society, my family, my name, and my people, I will. So in terms of, do you see George Solo reflected in the government? Absolutely. I will be there. I will participate. I might get paid for it. I might not get paid for it. But the future direction of Liberia involves me. And it involves me voluntarily. And it involves me on the basis of advocacy, on the basis of delivery, or on the basis of speaking again. That does not change. My commitment to my nation, people, has not,
I think he's
will
getting
not.
the call, folks. If you just okay, he's back. Go ahead.
My commitment to my people have not, will not, and will never change. I go to bed thinking about Liberia. I wake up thinking about Liberia. I walk through the day working, sustaining my family, thinking about Liberia. If asked to contribute, who am I to reject that? If not asked to contribute, who am I not to respect that? If the nation, my country, the Republic of Liberia, where my newest train is buried, to whom I owe my existence, ask a favor of me, and I believe I have accumulated those skills and can contribute it, who am I? If my nation does not ask of me, and I believe I have the skill to speak, to stand up, and to make sure things are right, who am I? I've done it for 18 years, ASHFORD, without reward. I will do it for the rest of my life, with or without reward. But I'm not a Liberian that my country will call upon, and I will deprive that nation. I'm also not a Liberian that my country will not call upon, and I will deprive that nation. I stand ready.
George, besides you being a family member of mine, you're also a son of Liberia. And I know you to be a guy that is very stern. You're not a pushover. You are not a sycophant. You disagreed with George Weah, and look where George Weah has found himself. I'm pretty sure if things start to go the way that the Liberian people don't like under this new administration, we hear from you as well.
You will. You either hear from me from the perspective of contributing, of articulating a contribution, of articulating the changes that is being propelled for our people, of articulating the different levels of heights that we will reach in governance, of articulating the equilibrium that we have always desired. You will hear that from me. Or you will hear from me in the disappointment. You will hear from me where I think we were supposed to be. You will hear from me where we are supposed to be. Because my very existence is surrounded by these things. I was raised in a military home by a father who believed that accountability was not an abject word. It's not a word that relates to other people. It's a word that relates to you. It's how you wake up in the morning. It's what you do within the 24 hours that God has given you. Not just for you, but for your people. It's how you commit to the sustainability of everyone and just not yourself. That's the home I grew up in. That's the mantra I have. That's the mentality I live with. And the simple value of that mentality is we are all equal. We all have this space. We all are breathing. And I'll put it in our simple Liberian English. Nobody man care them from now more than the other person. When you wake up in the morning, you thank God for life. But you thank God for the life of others. You thank God for prosperity. But you also thank God for the prosperity of the nation. George Solo, never been silent. You heard his name over 18 years ago. You're talking to me now. My conversations have never changed. My conversations will never change. My differences will be articulated, but my conversation is the same. We all, as a people, we either rise together or we fail together, ASHFORD.
The Honorable Brandon Samuka was never given the chance to take his seat as senator from Lofa County because of misappropriation of funds, according to the soon-to-be past government. We have Nathan McGill, who was sanctioned prior to these elections, was just certificated as senator. As a matter of fact, we had two sanctioned senators from Mark Gibby. We have the elephant, Bill Twabit. He's also a sanctioned senator from Riverses. What is going to happen to these people?
You know, in law, there's an implementation called precedent. Precedent is very critical because if we have a precedent legally, that precedent sets the tone for future legal judgments on the basis that if it was done before and it was legitimate and right, it has to be done again and it should be done again. And the opposite side to precedent is discrimination. If it was done before and is not done again, the previous entity have been discriminated against. That's just the nature of law and the judicial system. I think my anticipation and the anticipation of most Liberians is that precedents will be followed. Is that individuals that are sanctioned, individuals that have been called out, individuals that evidence have been presented against for committing certain acts that is a misrepresentation of leadership and the statehood must be held accountable. As for if you are late for 5 minutes and I fire you, any other employee that is late 5 minutes that are allowed to go to work create the realm of discrimination. Because why do I allow these other people to go in late 5 minutes when I fire you for being 5 minutes late? And I think our judicial system is aware. Secondly, unscrupulous elements who have been sanctioned by the United States. Again, a country I respect, a country I lived in and worked in, and a country that acts and behaves on facts are able to point to you. I think it is only honorable that we, the Liberians, that the incoming government says, answer to those issues. If you are cleared, your rights will be reestablished. If you are not, we cannot uphold the rights of criminals. It's not in our constitution. I think the incoming government have a critical responsibility to say to all Liberians that are facing these issues, that are facing these discrepancies, that are facing these situations of sanctions, clear yourself. If you are clear, we welcome you, we incorporate you into governance. If you are not, go and answer these situations. Because ultimately, the foreign projection of Liberia depend on how we deal with these situations. As for you cannot go to the IMF and say, please give me money. You cannot go to the US and say, please support us through USAID for our healthcare and our education. You cannot go to these same people and solicit support when these people have told you these elements are not representative of leadership. So how do you come to my house, ASHFORD? And I say, I need you to buy a bottle of beer. Say, well, my man, you get drunker than in the house. All of them get DUI. Why would I give you money to buy beer? Or why would I give you money to buy food? You're not going to buy food. When you go to the store, you will buy beer. Because you're a drunkard. You are being accused of being a drunkard. And this is not only applicable to those individuals, as far as applicable to me and you. It's applicable to every Liberian. If you are in question, if you are in doubt, clear those questions, clear those doubts. I'm fully against. I will lead a protest against. In fact, I'm supposed to be in Liberia next week. I will advocate clearly against these individuals sitting, making law decisions for us when they have questions about their integrity and their inner dealings. Let them answer to those things. In any mature society, we will not even ask them. We will not even get in a state of conversation. In an active society, those individuals will voluntarily resign and go and clear their names. Liberia, over the years, have become a case of just disturbing God, just making God tired. Simply because the norms that dictate the day-to-day ethics related to leadership is not respected. Congressmen in the US have resigned because they went to Venezuela or Colombia and had relationships there and did not disclose it. No, go ahead.
You played a very vital role in helping to establish the CDC that saw George Weah uh, presidency. Why was George Weah fired? Was it because of incompetence? And incompetence, by that I mean, Instead of going to the executive mansion, he was saying going to the Jamaica resort. He was saying in the music studio making music. Was he fired because of incompetence, or he was fired because of corruption by the Liberian people?
You know, Ashford, those are two important words. Corruption is a big part of incompetence. Not holding people accountable is incompetence. You have 3 employees. One is coming to work on time every day, working hard. The other 2 are not. You build a corporate culture around where the other 2 employees say, I don't care anymore. I'm not going to come at 8 o'clock. I'm here at 8 o'clock. The other man is here at 3. All of us get the same pay. In fact, the man who comes late is more successful than me. So why should I come at 8? I'll come at 2, just like him. And what that does is it deprives efficiency. There's no standard. The man is coming at 2. He's making the most money. I'm coming at 6 a.m. I don't even get paid for months. I think it's a mix of both. I think incompetence is the junior brother to lack of accountability. And I think, President, we have suffered both. And I think the Liberian people recognize that. I don't think we ever elect a president thinking you are supposed to know engineering like the public works minister. I don't think we ever elect a president saying you're supposed to know foreign policy like the foreign minister. I don't think we elect a president saying you're supposed to know about electricity like the LEC boss. But I think we elect leaders on the basis that you should have the capability to put the right people in those roles and to manage them. You are an administrator. As for GARLEY, you are the head of LEC. How many homes do you expect to electrify in the first quarter of 2023? How many homes will you electrify in the second quarter? How do we build the dam? How do we distribute electricity? How do you have an employee base at LEC that is able to go and make sure that Liberians have electricity? How do you reward them? How do you train them? How do you upgrade them through training to be able to be up to global electrical distribution standards? That's the expectation we have for you. We're not asking you to be an electrician. And so failure in governance is failure on all levels. And I think just as you articulated, President, we have failed in both of those scenarios. And again, tonight I'm not here about failure. I consider failures as mistakes. I'm not blaming people. I'm not throwing names. I'm going back to the basics of what leadership represents. We never elected a president. If you remember, and I'll throw this out as a joke, thank God I'm a crime man just like you. President Doe first interview in 1980, he said, what's your foreign policy? He said, the foreign minister will tell you what the foreign policy is. He said, what's your defense strategy? He said, the minister of defense will get to your order. Yeah. You remember that interview?
Yeah. He said we'll carry on the old policy.
Yeah, we'll carry on the old policy and the minister of defense will get to you on our defense policy. What is your foreign policy? The foreign minister will get to you on our foreign policy. How do you expect to build the economy? The Minister of Finance and the Central Bank will get the economical preview. We'll get back to your under. That's leadership. There's no one man who has all of these technical capacities. When we elect you as president, you have the administrative capacity. You have the capacity to pick the right people, to manage them, to hold them accountable.
But George, you were one of the closest people to George Ware. When you are in a conversation with George Ware, he can speak until day breaks. But the Liberian will say he caught speech from the Liberian people. The 3 missing boys who are not dead, the auditors who are not dead. The president just didn't speak.
It's not just speaking. Even in my time with Mr. Weah, he's not much of a talker. He has never been. And so I was not surprised or bewildered by his desire to speak. Even when I served as his national chairman, I spoke. I articulated. I built expectations. I communicated. There are different kinds of communication. There's the guy in the room who is quiet and everybody's wondering what he's thinking. And that's George Weah. The disappointment really lies in the implementation. Because a president need not speak much, but a president need to act. And in the last 6 years, we have had no cabinet reshuffle. We have no accountability. We have no measurement of deliverables. We had nobody ask anybody question. You are the head of LPRC. How much does gas cost? How much gallon do you bring in? Can we sustain the petroleum need of the Liberian people? In a year, in 2 years, what are your deliverables? How many new refining opportunities can you create? How can you reduce the price of gas? What can you do to make sure that Liberia is sustainable when it comes to petroleum? And that is the real disappointment. The disappointment is not what you say. The disappointment is what you do. In our culture, we speak much, we deliver less. So it is not about speaking. It's about what have the president done to hold individuals accountable to the deliverables to which they were appointed vis-a-vis the Liberian people. For that, George Weah was a massive disappointment. I don't have minutes from any cabinet meeting. Our regular press reviews giving updates on the state of affairs of the nation. Under George Weah was non-existent. Government ministers did not even show up to work. Their job was to go to Jamaica, sit with the president, make with the president, and get paid. And I think that's the real disappointment. George Weah did not lead. George Weah did not build expectation for the people he appointed. George Weah did not review those people output. The government of the Republic of Liberia have not done performance reviews for 6 years. These are things that should be done weekly, monthly, quarterly. You are heading telecom, you are heading maritime, you are heading Ministry of Finance, you are heading this place for me. What are you doing every day? What am I paying you for? What have you achieved? What is your goal? What are your deliverables? When will those deliverables be met? And if they are not met, why are they not met and how do you meet them? So the very basics of people management was never in place. And this is why I predicted years ago that there will be failure. ASHFORD, can I appoint you as the head of Liberia Broadcasting System? You have no KPIs. And for those who do not know, KPIs are key performance indicators. Mr. Garley, what will you achieve in the first 3 months? Mr. President, I will make sure that Liberia Broadcasting System is accessible to all Liberians in 15 counties. Thank you. That's a KPI. That's a goal I can measure you on. In 6 months, I'll make sure that we are even communicating and have the capacity to support Ivory Coast, Guinea, Sierra Leone, and all of the Liberians in the diaspora with information. That's a KPI. In 8 months, I will build a succession planning where if I get in an accident today and I die, my deputy director has the capability and the training to take over Liberia Broadcasting System and continue what I've started. That's a KPI. How do you appoint people without KPIs? How do you appoint people without accountability? How do people get paid out of taxpayer money with no accountability? When they show up for work, how they show up for work, what they are expected to achieve, what they feel at, and how you owe them. You know, those things, all of those things, paramount to the success of a leader.
Former President George Weah said, you would not be spectator as a Liberian in your own economy. And he would not tolerate corruption in his government. Liberian in some spectrums is the most corrupt nation under George Weah's leadership. According to Lester Turning, George Weah is the worst thing that ever happened to Liberia. What are your thoughts?
You know, rhetorics. It's called rhetorics. It's the use of linguistics. It's the use of language. I can say anything related to my vision. A vision is only a vision. The implementation that is subject to a vision and a strategy is what leads to success. You can go back to 1847. Every inauguration, all of our presidents have spoken well. They have spoken well. Liberians have a manipulation of the English language. But the real value of measurement is when you preach, and thank God on Bridge Radio. When you preach what is spoken against what is done, then you find a true implementation of success. And those words that you just gave me, Liberian representation, accountability, the success of the nation, those were all rhetorics. Simple rhetorics. No implementation by President Weah can preach those words. And after 6 years, I'm vindicated. There's no action to preach those words. In 6 years, the foreigners control our economy. In 6 years, Liberians have no access to loan. In 6 years, local Liberian business will not sustain, supported, or develop. In 6 years, Liberians were not only spectators. A spectator has to be in the stadium. Liberians were viewers. They were watching on TV. It's like watching the Premier League. You are now a spectator. The British people in the stadium are the spectators. Liberians did not even have access to the stadium. They did not have the means to buy a ticket to go to the stadium. They did not have the means to watch the game. They were watching it on their phone. They were paying their $2 data to watch the game on the phone. These are not spectators. These are well-wishers. For the last 6 years, Liberians have been fans. They have been well-wishers. They watch the Champions League on TV. They watch their own soccer national league, IE and Barrow, on TV. They were not spectators. So this is where, generally, in the realm of leadership, words must meet action. And President Weah failed us.
President-elect Joseph Human Boycott said, quote, there will be no car stuck on any mayor road in his first 100 days in office. How do you respond?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
No, repeat that question, Ashford. Sorry.
President-elect Joseph Human Boycott said, in a quote, there will be no car stuck on any mayor road in the country in the first 100 days of his leadership.
There will be no car stuck. I have had intimate conversations with the vice president-elect. All of the bells and whistles have been put in place to make sure that a country of 23,000 square miles don't deserve the road problems we have. A country the size of Liberia should not be discussing roads since 1847. But the president did not say, the president-elect did not say it will be paved. He said it will be drivable. And I, from a human perspective, understanding the dimension, calculating the kilometers and the miles. There's no reason for the roads in Liberia to be the way they are. Even if they were maintained, if they were taken seriously, all parts of the Republic of Liberia are supposed to be accessible. We have also been blessed with the ocean, with maritime. There's no need that somebody going to Basel or Sano or Maryland is supposed to be worried about road. No, we have the sea. We have the capacity to take people on ferries from the free port of Liberia to the free port of Buchanan. We have the capacity to build port in Sano and Maryland, sustain them, and be able to transport people. What we have done basically is we have transferred our transportational burden to roads because we have refused to use other elements of nature that God have given us. When I was a kid, I used to get on plane at Springfield and land at the airport in Swedru. Colonel Arthur Bidell, Armed Forces of the Republic of Liberia, used to fly plane. My pa and myself get in the plane, it was in Grand Gila. We have the airspace. God gave that to us. We have the sea. God gave that to us. If we are sustainable, we build a real system through which minerals are transported and human beings can also be transported. You live on the East Coast, you live in the US, you take a train, you go to anywhere. That same train carrying chain tracks, it's carrying clothes, it's carrying sneakers, it's carrying passengers, and it's carrying merchandise. I think on a previous government and president, we've looked at transportation from the point of roads. We've burdened our roads because we made it look like it's the only way that you can be transported. There's the train system. There's the sea. There's the air. The last I remember, the president ate a cake with Air Liberia. There's no Air Liberia. When I was a kid growing up, Pan Am used to come to Roberts International Airport. International flights were coming. It doesn't take long to build our runway. It doesn't take long to build an airport system where even our natural beauty can be harnessed by tourism. It doesn't take long. And I believe President-elect Boyka, Vice President-elect Kuhn, based on my conversations with them, are looking at transportation from a more global perspective, looking at transportation from the 21st century, where there are multiple avenues and means through which we can improve our transportation system. This is not for anyone. This is for us, ASHFORD. And so as you delve deeper into that, I simply said this to remind us that God has given us the weather that other countries pray for. We do not have hurricane. We do not have winter. We have all of the ecological logistics that can be afforded to every nation. If our leaders just do the right thing, transportation should not be our issue.
Let us talk about the bread and butter issue for a minute. People need jobs. You have grown men and women in the country that have been reduced to beggars. 14 and 15-year-old daughters are now the breadwinners in their homes. It doesn't take much to start a little sawmill to produce rice. What happened to the shoes factory, the candy factory back in the day?
If you go into shoes and candy, and again, when we start to talk about livelihood, let's go back to the toilet tissue factory. Let's go back to the soap factory. Let's go back to the battery factory that is supposed to build energy or create energy for transportation, electricity, and other things. Let's go to simple things like slipper factory. Let's start exporting food based on our God-given natural climate, where we have raining and dry. You can plant 12 years around the block. The key word there is industrialization. The key word there is When you industrialize, you create jobs. How do you create jobs? You create jobs by allowing investors to come in. What has been our problem? ASHFORD GARLEY want to come and open a slipper factory here. You have a finance minister, Samuel Twell, or you have a president, George Wells, say, give me 15 million first before you come. What if ASHFORD open this factory, start to produce slippers? Our kids have access to health-related shoe wear. Mothers and fathers can go in the factories and produce the slippers and make $50 a week, $100 every 2 weeks. That is the differentiation between one man taking $15 million and putting it in a pocket, or a nation allowing a businessman to come and create jobs for 20,000 Liberians. That has been a disparity. Liberia has never had a lack of investors. Our climate, our corruption, our lack of interest in the people has never allowed leaders to allow those investments to manifest. I want to form a mining company. I'm going to contribute $250 million to your national budget in taxes. I'm going to employ 200 Liberians. That has not been the importance. The importance has been, how much do you have to give me before you start this factory? And any businessman who connect with an accountant will say, well, you get to put 200 million, how much will you invest? How many people will you employ? How will you pay them? So the self-interest have always preceded the national interest. And this is why today Liberia is not an industrialized nation. The key word for industrialization is the people. That's how you see ASHFORD, we got the formulation of unions. The brick workers in Italy were building bricks, building buildings. They were not being compensated well. They said, we will form the union. We will stand together, we will not pay any bidding until you pay us. That is why it's manifested today. You see the Freemasons. I hear people that can put BB ring on their hand and say, I'm a Mason, I'm a Mason, I'm a Mason. The Freemason come from bricklayers who were advocating for their rights. This is a two-part story. The government have the responsibility to create those things, but we, the Liberians, have the responsibility to advocate that those things are made available to us. That's the whole word of unionization. Unionization was men getting together and said, this is the hard work we do. This is how our work support the nation. If you will not respect us, we'll not do it. And I think you see the filthiness of Monrovia today. Nobody cleaning the city. If you not pay me, I will not move the day. So when you start to talk about the industrialization of our nation, it was preconceived by our forefathers. From Freeport all the way to Relay, that was an industrial avenue built to have factories where Liberians then we go to college, we go to high school, can go every day and make slipper and make soap and make factory, battery and cacao and still take an income home, because we understand our entire population will not be educated. So when we start to look at industrialization from the perspective of what it is, we have government accountability, we have people accountability. I am personally aware, I know of investors that have gone to Liberia with multi-billion-dollar propositions. But because they did not give individual 1 million or 2 million, those propositions did not pay out. And millions of Liberians lost the possibility for jobs, for self-sustainability. Simply because one man wanted somebody to gain 5 million before he bring toilet tissue factory. All of us can go to the bathroom. All of us can use toilet tissue. I want bring toilet tissue factory to Liberia. Why should I pay you? Who are you? Is your father last name Liberia? Is your mother last name Monrovia? Why should I pay you to bring a $2 billion investment that will employ 10, 20,000 Liberians? And this is where businessmen, and I can give you names, I can give you dates. This is where businessmen say, these people are not serious. I'll get my factory to Senegal. I'll get my factory to Guinea. Because no man who loves his people, no man who desires to see growth in his nation will ask me to pay him to bring investment. Who is the head of your National Investment Commission? What is his experience? How many foreign investments have been brought? Horses have been bought in Texas. 500,000, 600,000. How many investments have been bought to Liberia? Now the head of NOCA is asking for 200,000. The head of finance is asking for 150,000 for a defunct entity that have not sold one glass of oil. That have not brought one investor to our oil industry that we don't know where it is. This is just ludicrous. It's ludicrous.
Well, George Weah did not make any reshuffle for 6 years. As a matter of fact, you were given a job based on loyalty and not on qualification. Joseph Yuma Boyka, on the other hand, is saying he is interested in hiring competent Liberians who are ready to work. What say you?
I believe him. I believe his experience. I believe his integrity. I believe someone who has been there and done that stands in the capacity to review situations. This is why I supported President-elect Joseph Boyka. We are often gone the direction of novices who use their time in office and the example of learning as an excuse for why deliverables were not met. I, as a Liberian, I, as a former party chairman, I, as a revolutionary who have fought for the change in Liberia, I wanted to go with experience. Because experience has no excuse. Experience has no excuse. And when you even look in the football industry, 99% of the coaches are former players. You know what the dressing room look like. You know what the 18-yard look like. You know what the center half look like. You have expectation for your defenders. You have expectation for your strikers. You have expectation for your midfielders because you've been there before. You won and you lost games. You know why you won, you know why you lost. There's no excuse. You cannot call Zinedine Zidane or Filippo Inzaghi or Diego Simeone as a head coach. And you ask him, why is the team losing? And he said, I don't know. He knows. He knows how players are being prepared. He knows what the game entails. He understands the 90-minute intensity. He felt it. He's been through it. He's tested. No team goes and appoint ASHFORD GARLEY or generally a head coach in the Premier League and they say can't learn this season. You Liverpool coach. No. And I gave that football analogy because it connects directly with our former president. You know the terrain. You know the ifs and don'ts. You know the what ifs. You know the expected and unexpected. You've been in that space. So you are able to understand how you move that space. And I believe Joseph Boyka and Jeremiah Cohen present all of those things. These are people I have conversations with. I speak less. I listen more. I review their vision. I ask questions. And I concluded that these are people who are capable of moving us forward based on their experiences. I speak with limited doubt when I speak about the incoming government, because I know what they are capable of doing and what they should do. When I say limited doubt, 99.9%, because that 1% individuals still exist that will always use leaders in public office for their own well-being, that will use personal relationship to deflect from accountability. Those people will always exist. They exist in every society, they exist in ours, and they will never go away. But majority of the stakes favors their experience, favors their knowledge. And for me, nothing beats desire. What you don't know, you can learn. What you know, you can exercise. The goal is desire. And I see that desire in the incoming government.
Well, let us take a few calls. The number to call is 267-248-5295 is the number to call. And our friend and brother in Zwedru Grandjita Condit at Top FM, can you read out the numbers to the local callers in Liberia?
0886 733916. 0886 733916. 0776. I mean 0770 733916. I'll be glad if you can just write it out on the screen while I'll be calling it as well to the the audience out there.
I think we have a caller on the line. It's a 612 number. Hello, caller. Tell us your name.
Good evening. My name is Michael Kipperson, and I call you from Minneapolis. I just called to say that the show is so impressive, and a lot have been said. And everything that we listen to tonight, what we wish for the next leadership to do for us is to set our country on the right path. So thank you, Mr. Joselo. And I think you said a lot. I appreciate that. And a lot of Liberians, I want to believe, appreciate what you've done tonight. Thank you.
Okay, we have Boyman on the line. Hello, Boyman. Go ahead, make your statement or ask a question.
Thank you. Thank you for you guys, for everything that you guys putting together for our Liberian people. I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia. My name is Famara Boyman, one of the three missing boy sisters, Siapa Boyman. I'm asking you guys to please keep pushing. So, one of the three missing boy sisters, Siapa Boyman. I'm asking you guys to please keep pushing. So, area in the we are government. We are begging you guys to keep pushing forward. We need Timothy Favor Home to be shut down and case to be reopened. Timothy should lose his license. Thank you guys for everything for the great people.
Thank you. We have a 919 number. Hello, caller. Tell us your name. Thank you. We have a 919. Hello, caller. Tell us your name. Okay. We're still a 919 number. Tell us your name, caller.
My name is Zobon Jamali.
Go ahead. Make your statement, please, or ask your question. You're live on the radio. Go ahead. Make your point. We have a 515 number. Hello, caller. Tell us your name.
Hello. My name is Dacia Wilson.
Okay.
Mr. Solo, thank you very much, man. You articulated very well. My question has to do with drugs. Drugs. We saw the proliferation of drugs in the George Weah's government. What do you think is the it's the thinking of the international community with respect to holding him accountable for the in his government.
Thank you.
Hello?
We have a 614 number. Hello, caller. Tell us your name.
Yeah, my name is Willie Kamara.
And where
I
are you?
live in Australia.
Okay, go ahead, ask your question or make your point.
Yeah, it's not a question. Look, I appreciate the show very much. I appreciate your guest, Mr. Solo. It's well articulate. But I just want him to respond to when you're asking about investment or bringing investors to Liberia. I think, if I'm right, there are over 200,000 Liberians outside currently as we speak. What initiative will Liberia be putting together to bring Liberian entrepreneurs or whereby we ourselves can raise a company, put money together that they are Liberian strategic company, and then we are selling shares. And when profits are made, we go back to Liberia. So I just want to ask Mr. George Solo that question and what is response, whether people are thinking that way.
Thank you.
I quite like Jeremiah Kuhn because he spoke about something like that as well. But we need to start with our own people. Even if Liberia has a company and we have 100,000 Liberians, we can raise money. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have a 919 number. Tell us your name.
My name is Jamali.
Go ahead and ask your question or make your point.
Now, I need to ask George Solo, why was it that the we administration never held anybody accountable for the wrongdoing? I mean, he had no economic focus plan, no long range, no short range goal. Why? So they're blind or what?
Thank you. We have a 267 number. Tell us your name.
Yeah, Mr. Guy, is that
Yes, sir. The last 4 digits of your number, 8123.
Harris Gasama, Pennsylvania? I mean, thank you for the show, man. So, I mean, Mr. George spoke well, and Mr. George because he made not for him. But I got a question for Mr. George. Mr. George, being Mr. Weah being your political leader and your friend, what type of Weah do we expect to see after the presidency? That's just a question. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Solo, could you please respond? And to those of you, the viewers, if you have questions, just put your radio question in the comment section. And of course, we will re-add those questions for you. Let us take 2 more callers and then we'll go back to Mr. Solo. We have Togat Regis on the line. Togat, hello. Welcome to the show.
What's up, ASHFORD?
I'm better than good. Go ahead and ask your question.
I want to say hi to my boy. Tumo, what's up, my man?
What's up, T-Reg?
Yeah, my great fellow. I met myself on way back, my man. I just watched you, man. I just called to wish you guys Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, man. My man, everything you're saying, y'all got your substance to all you guys saying, man. I appreciate that. I express yourself, man, Tumo. That what's up, bro. Speak your mind, man.
Thank you.
Everything has an end.
Thank you, Ghost Gora.
We have a 210 number. The last 4 digits of your number, 4603. Please tell us your name.
Good evening, ASHFORD, and good evening, George. My name is Ibrahim Saniyoko, and I call from Texas. George, my question to you. You guys sold George Weah to us as someone who was multi-talented, someone who was worth over $80 million. And now we have this debacle. You guys knew that he was inept, and you guys sold him to the country. Do you guys have buyer's remorse? Thank you.
Okay, that does it for the colors tonight. Mr. Sudo will respond, and then we will have his closing statement. Being for 2 hours, man. The boys. Yes.
Yeah, so let me go with the last. I'll start with the last and then go to the first. And I think it's a critical question the brother is asking. I get that question often. And that's why democracy allows us to choose every 6 years. Because our judgment is based on what we see and know. And when you look at the political space, we have a lot of actors. People say the right things. People do the right things. People pretend to understand the right things. When people are not in leadership, they listen to advices. When they become leaders, they don't. It is not a state of regret. It is a state of constant, regular review of who you are presenting every 6 years. And it has been manifested in the electoral process. You marry a woman, you meet her at the market, she looks beautiful, she says all the right language. She behaves well. When you marry her and she misbehaves, the law gives you the option of divorce. That's why we have the option of divorce. To say, oh yeah, this person did not represent what I anticipated they would have been in the home on a day-to-day basis. You marry her, she stopped cooking. You marry her, she stopped caring for the kids. You marry her, she stopped respecting you. You have an option to divorce that woman. Other people stay in a relationship. They beat a woman, they go to a police station, they get criminal record. Other people say, no, you are not what I anticipated. That is the nature of politics. It's like choosing a wife. It's like choosing a job. You go for an interview, you love the job. You love the place, you love the people. You start working there, you find there's no positive culture. They are negative, they are bullish. You say, okay, I quit. I'll go find another job. And this is why democracy was put in place, and every 6 years we got to choose. This obligates leaders to live up to the expectation they communicated to you. Nobody grew up with their leader in the same house. Nobody and their leader come from the same family. We learn them, we build expectations for them. If they do not meet those deliverables, we divorce ourselves from them. And what I'm proud of is individuals like me choose to not work in government for 6 years, to continue to advocate for 6 years, and continue to say, this is not the woman I met. Human being can change. You do not know individuals until you give them power. And so this is an experiment that we have to go through our lifetime. On a consistent basis, we have to elect people with the hope, with our knowledge of them, with our expectation of them. If they deliver, we put our hand up and say we made a good decision. If they don't, we go back and remove them through the electoral process and say, this person misrepresented who they were. That's my response to that. I'll transition to the brother from Australia. Investment is not about you taking your 401k and your personal money and going to put it into business. The government has the responsibility to create the economic climate. Elon Musk from SpaceX, Jeff Bezos from Amazon, they're not from rich parents. They did not take $10 million and go form their companies. They took loans. Financial avenues were created for them. They built entities. They put their ideas together. They sustained themselves with a little first $100 or $200 they had. But the financial instruments were created where they were successful. Liberia needs to be the same. Just because you're a Liberian, you live in Australia, doesn't mean that the nation should expect you to come with $2 million and open car company. No. You should come, you should present a business plan. You should go to LBDI and other Liberian banks as Liberians. You should create collateral, and you should take a loan and build your entity. So it's twofold. You have a personal responsibility to build your investment network, but the government also has the responsibility to create that economic environment, that corruption-free environment, where even your investors will say, I can give you $1 million because I know Liberia is not corrupt. I know what the return will be on this. I know you will succeed. You should be able to go to LBDI, any of those banks, Echo Banks, and say, as a Liberian, this is my company, I'm funding, and brought my own 20,000. I want to credit 200,000 from you. This is my business plan. I'll pay you back. I'll take more, I'll get you more. I'll create jobs. It's a two-fold street. And I think we need to stop this mentality where we believe that if you are Liberian in a diaspora, you have the capability to go and weather the economic storm. You have the capability when you carry your small money, even the economic environment that is not created, the less small money you carry will change everything. No. The economy is a structure. It's a structure that must accommodate people. It must create financial reasoning. It must create financial opportunities. It must allow Liberians to come with ideas and be financially supported to succeed. I go to the third caller. My brother Toga Riches. We play football together. We grew up together. He understands my philosophy. He's listening tonight. He's not a stranger to me. He knows what I have stood for. And just like he said, it is always an interesting conversation when we are talking about Liberia at this next level. Doesn't matter what your profession is. Doesn't matter what you have become. What matters is where we came from and how we changed where we came from to become where our children and our children's children can profit in that direction. And as for maybe I missed one or two because the questions were many. But please remind me on anyone you need me to answer.
Okay, we just go to two of the questions on the screen there. We have Mr. Tupison saying, Mr. Solo, what do you think the next government foreign policy agenda should focus on? That's number one. And the next one is Mr. Solo, we want to know whether President Weah was worth $86 million before becoming senator, because we saw him building single family houses when he became president within 6 months. Then the last caller is on the lines, a 202 number. Hello, caller. A 202 number, the last four digits of your number, 221.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. Ask your question, please.
I just want to make a comment. I don't have a question. I just want to make a comment.
Go ahead.
Okay. You know, I think for now, what George is still saying, or what George is doing is related. Because these are things that make you to win the election. But I still see George still saying the same thing. But, you know, I'm not surprised. This is breakable. In fact, let me just interrupt for myself. Breakable power. Look, we are discussing how the regime coming in power will make a difference. But here, George talking about how you rap playing with father, we forget to know what is happening in our country. And he's still laying basis of a thing that can happen on Facebook. We're discussing what the regime coming in power will do, will be different from the government are leaving power. I think that will be a focal point. But all those things that you're saying, so you can bring more. So I think you have to change your thoughts, honestly, or your statement that you're making, or your understanding about the issue now should be different. So thank you so much for the show.
Thank you.
Actually, let me respond to those. Number one, I think the mistake that the brother is making is the mistake that Mr. Weah made and a lot of Liberians make. When you put your car in reverse, you can't see in front. There's no vehicle, whether it's GM or Chevy or any production, that allow you to be in reverse and be in drive at the same time. Reverse is a reflection. Drive is a direction. And historically, for people who have refused that methodology like him, who just called, you refuse to listen to your history, you will never sustain your future. I did not make those analogies on the basis of today. I made the analogy on the basis of if you go back and look at a picture of Broad Street in 1980, it's more beautiful than Broad Street now. What did we do wrong? In every corporate success, it's looking at your failures and planning your future. Because the impediments that made you to fail still exist. Family favor, patriotism, loyalty. Take it, you stupid, why you not taking it? Those are the things that made Liberia fail. If we don't reflect on those things, and correct those things, we will never move forward. So for the last caller, retrospect is the foundation for future planning. You don't retrospect because you want to go back. It's uneasy for everyone. But we retrospect because we want to know the holes that we fell in, the pitfalls that stop us from reaching our goals are only appreciated when we retrospect. So I will leave him on that. The other two questions asked for, one relate to expectation. Expectation are created on the basis of what we hope to see. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. It's the evidence of things not seen. We have not seen it. We hope for it. But we don't just hope. We build the stumbling blocks. We build the rules of engagement. We build a level of accountability that will allow us to measure these things that we hope for. We hold our leaders accountable. We ask them questions on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to enable us to get to that next point. And so, my conversation tonight is not one of negativity, yet it's one of accountability. Because positivity, 100% have taken us nowhere. Positivity with cautiousness is what developed the West. It's what developed the Europe. It's what developed the US. It's what it developed Oceania and all of these places. We must be positive, because we must retrospect on the places we fail. We must reclaim our mistakes. We must fix them, because you cannot move forward if you don't fix the small things that impeded you from moving forward yesterday. Maybe I missed something. As for you want to proffer any of those questions, I'll be more than glad to respond to them.
Okay, he talked about the $86 million that people perceive George Weah had before becoming senator.
No. Again,
when he became president with his.
Okay, yeah. I missed that one. So let's go back to it. $86 million was his projected income. Now, when somebody say ASHFORD GARLEY is worth $10 million, over his journalistic career, he made $10 million. Nobody communicates ASHFORD GARLEY expenditure. Anyone who knows about finance understanding that income and disbursement is what ends up being your total. George Weah made a lot of money. George Weah spent a lot of money. George Weah did not have 86 million. No athlete, if you say Cristiano Ronaldo made 100 million, does not mean that Cristiano Ronaldo have 100 million. Cristiano Ronaldo live every day. He feed a family, he eat, he go on vacation. He have other leisures and stuff that he's do as a professional athlete. So he said Cristiano Ronaldo made $5 million over 5 years. Do you assume that you get $5 million sitting in your account when you're riding a Lamborghini? When you travel private jets? When you go to the nightclub with an entourage of 50 people and they spend $5,000, $10,000 a night? No. It's his projected income. If George Weah had $80-something million, CDC was not going to be what it was. We would not have supported. Nobody was going to look for money anyway. No, he did not. But this is not a George Weah issue. This is a simple Liberian comprehension of financials. Yeah, because George Solo making $20,000 a month does not mean that he put in $20,000 a month in the bank. He has a mortgage. He has kids' tuition. He got to feed them every day, every week, every month. He has family members that he have to support. He have initiatives that he's supportive of that are not bringing in return that are non-profit. Did George Weah have $80 million? No. Did he have it? No. Did he have $1 million? No. These ridiculous conversations about people accumulation because you have to connect it to their spending. And that's why it's equivalent to what they have today. So you say Ronaldo made 200 million a year. So you just walk around the earth thinking that, oh yeah, Ronaldo made 200 million, so you get 200 million. No. Ronaldo paid lawyers. Ronaldo has a wife. He has children. He has investment. Some will pay off, some will not. Ronaldo has a lifestyle. Ronaldo buy one jeans trouser for $2,000. How many jeans in your closet? Did you check it? Ronaldo had a lawsuit that he settled. 5, 10, 15 million dollars. The person say he raped me, he did to me, he did that to me. So because you have a blue book value of Ronaldo at 200 million does not mean Ronaldo have 200 million dollars sitting there in the bank. Let's be realistic when we start to talk about income. Okay, so that's my response to that, Ashford.
Okay. Yeah, you're saying something.
No. Proceed.
Okay.
That was the last question. Is there another one?
Yeah, Mrs. Monica Khan is saying, can you be appointed advisor to either President Boyka or Vice President Cohn? That's the question. And then before you answer that, we'll have a caller on the line. The last caller before you give us your closing statement, Mr. Solo. Hello, caller. Tell us your name.
Yeah. How you doing, Lodi?
Lodi, what's up, my man?
And how you doing, Georgie?
All right, brother.
Listen, I want to say something and end it with question. Thank you very much for your good expose this evening. I follow you a long time on Costa Show, on all the media, including ASHFORD Garden, where you started according to you, and we watch you. Thank you very much. You know, listening and understanding is two different things, Georgie. With the last caller that just called, you know, it's better to listen keenly when somebody is speaking. But my question here to you, Brother George, what will you bring and what will you do to rebuild our country with the good praises that you gave to Mr. Boakai and Jeremiah Kuhn, and what would be your role in the government? Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that does it for callers tonight. Mr. Solo, as you answered those questions, you can tie that in with the closing statement, and then we can cut this tonight.
I don't know what would be required of me. I did not ask to be born in Liberia. God decided that I was supposed to be a Liberian. And I embraced that. And I decided if I would be a Liberian, I'll be a Liberian to the fullest. If I'm asked to serve, I'll serve well. I'll be the first one to work. I'll be the last one to leave. I'll make sure that my every effort is geared towards changing the life of my people, my brothers, my sisters, my mothers, my fathers. And, you know, I've seen the wrong for so long. I fought for so long. Even when people did not expect me to stand up, all I had to do was stand near my brother Joey and say, you are doing well. I did not. I will always do as I was raised. What is in the best interest of my people? Because my happiness is through my people. If I will not serve, I will be who I am. I will hold people accountable. Those that are appointed to lead, those that are elected to lead, I'll ask them the tough questions. I'll say, why do we not have this? Why do we not have that? Why is a nation of 5 million people with the resources we have living the way we live? Why are the kids not in school? Why can parents not get paid? Why do we not have industries? That's my calling. I have to do one or the other. I have to stand for what's right. That is my goal. So I will either be there fixing, advising, helping, supporting, or I will still be there asking the questions. Because I believe in my soul that we were all created to contribute and achieve something through humanity. The last 6 years have not been easy for me. To advocate against what you build, to stand up against what you build was difficult, but it was right. Just because you build something does not mean you should watch that thing crumble, disinfect others on the basis that your pride that you contributed to building it impede you from speaking against it. I was surprised, Mr. Weir, everybody was surprised that I stood up. But I had no option. We must say the truth. My personal relationships, the way people view me, what I stood for, everything has been in question in the last 6 years. You brought this government on us. You advocated this government. You supported this government. You wanted this change. It would have been easy to subside my reality and say, because I contributed to this thing, I'm going to be proud and I'm going to stand by it. But I did not. I said, I contributed this thing. I brought it to you. I apologize. But you see me wake up and fight every day to make sure that my apology is not in words, that it's in value, that what I stood for did not manifest. I humbly come to you and I say, I apologize, but I don't just apologize. I will fight every day. I will talk every day. I will articulate where we are supposed to be every day. I will sever relationships. I will disappoint people. But I will stand up for what is right. And for that, I owe no one apology. The George Solo that fought for this revolution was the same George Solo that fought this revolution and that ushered in a new day. And my children, and my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren, one day, they will listen to me fighting for the revolution. They will listen to me fighting against this revolution. They will listen to me articulating a new day. And if that new day is successful, they will listen to me articulating a success. If it's not, they will listen to me again, saying why? Why did we not? Why could we not? What could we have done? And for that, I will remain grateful to my Father who embedded in me that there's no man who does not make mistake, but the man who recognizes his mistake and stand up against his mistake to make a better day is a man. And as for on that, with all the humility, with a great sense of anticipation of the incoming government, with a great sense of where Liberia is supposed to be, I will say to you today, George Gautier Solo, I will be on a ship that reached the shore. I will be the one on the show that making sure that our ship that does not represent Liberia people never arrive on the show. And I will leave it at that.
Mr. George G. Solo, want to say thank you so much for taking the time to form part of this production tonight. You broke your silence 4 years ago when you said George Weah will be a one-term president. And again, you broke your silence tonight following the elections for the first time. Again, we wish you safe travel as you go to Liberia next week. And the beginning of the year, we would join you there. British Radio will be in Liberia. And I just want to take this time to say a big thanks to your family for allowing you to make your presence felt tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. The pleasure is all mine.
Okay. All right, folks. Again, that's all the time we have to be with you tonight. Miss Maria Gibson is in the building. Godwin, we adore is also here. Yaman Thompson, the Bishop, the Reverend Bishop, Dr. Walter D. Good in the second is here as well. And to my brother from Top FM in Zredu Grand Condit, give us a closing statement just before we.
Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate you for this show. And honestly, trust me, you are one of the voices in this country that people really do listen to. I've been looking at various platforms tonight. I can say you have one of the best platform, wow viewer, and I'm not disappointed being here tonight. And I hope we have time always out bringing information to our people in Liberia and making sure that we get through the counties with a lot of things unfolded for our people in this country and the diaspora.
And from the beginning of the year, we will launch our production in Liberia, and we'll go 5 days a week. And our production will start at midday, 12 to 1 p.m. In Liberia. So we intend to grow with this new administration, and I just want to say a big thank you as well, Siku, and the rest of your team in Liberia. And to our many viewers tonight, I want to say a big thanks to you as well. George Solo brought the numbers out. For the first time, we had 2,000 viewers just on YouTube, and then 12,000 of our Facebook, which is very huge. And with that said, folks, very shortly, we're going to be taking leave of you, but let me give you a few bars of this song. And folks, I'm afraid it's all the time I have to be with you. God willing, we will be back next time. Until then, please allow me to borrow the words of the wise man. Tough times don't last, tough people do. The height of a man is never known until he rises, and there's no second chance to make that first impression. What people think about you and the possibility for your dream is none of your business. Let them worry about it. And when you fall, make sure you land on your back, because when you can look up, you can get up. You have it within you to do so. You have comeback power. When somebody says no to you, don't take it personally. They are not saying no to you. They are saying no to themselves. They are saying no to living a bigger life. They are saying no to what is going on in their heads because they're suffering from possibility blindness. And if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. He doesn't eat iron, but he's definitely stronger than a lion. Folks, Jawuri Pine. Siko Wuri Aipelia. Get sit to by get Zebon Blow down your core mill. Africa's media do be do extraordinary. The media mogul creator. ASHFORD the giant, the now you know me Garley. Have a good night.